Speaking of filming news for the MCU, though, we're not done yet, guys, because we have some nuggets here about Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So recently, the Russo brothers were doing an interview, I think, with Collider, and they gave actually some interesting details about the next two Avengers films. So we're going to talk about them right now. So, Avengers Doomsday, right? Infamous, famous, I don't know, whatever you want to call it now at this point, for the Comic-Con reveal that Robert Downey Jr. himself, Iron Man, Tony Stark, will be playing none other than Victor Von Doom, is scheduled to be released on May 5th or something like that, May of 2026. And Avengers Secret Wars, as of right now, is still slated to be released in May 2027. So there have been rumors. There have been reports, right? Benedict Cumberbatch has come out and said, yeah, we're going to be filming the next Avengers film in early 2025. It's going to be really fun, and that's great. But then, it's kind of been silent. We haven't really heard anything. We've been getting other bits of MCU news here, right? Like Spider-Man 4, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, which we'll talk a little bit more about Tom Holland later. There's some really interesting stuff going on with him and his career. There's a lot of stuff, guys, going on this week, which is really exciting. But we'll talk about Tom Holland a little bit later. But the news about the Avengers films, who the rest of the cast is going to be, because I think that's really the biggest news. Like, as soon as we start hearing Iman Vellani or Haley Steinfeld or, Jeremy Renner, Chris Hemsworth, I think that's when we're going to start to get a sense of, okay, who's actually in the show? Simu Liu, right? I think that'll be really exciting. But for now, the best we can do is the other details that have been given to us. So we have gotten some interesting details here about the filming of these two films. The Russo brothers, they were talking about the writing of the film. They say they are currently in the writing process with Stephen McFeely, who's writing it. I don't think Christopher Marcus is going to be writing the film with him, but hopefully it wasn't just Christopher Marcus who made the other 4 MCU films that the Russo brothers did with them successful. I hope McFeely is talented in his own right, because we'll see. We'll find out here with Avengers Doomsday, but I have all the faith in the world in those 3 to get it done. But they're currently in the writing phase, and we have official confirmation now from them that they're going to be planning to film in spring 2025. So that is really exciting, because I think that as we approach spring 2025, I'm assuming maybe April or March, that we'll start to get the casting announcements, right? Like, I just love to get a full cast list, Obviously, with Infinity War and Endgame, we didn't get the full, especially with Endgame, we didn't get the full cast list. But, I remember still, I think a year before Avengers Infinity War came out at that Comic-Con, they released a concept art poster with every single character that was basically in the film. And I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was an amazing poster. I looked at that. I studied that for just hours afterwards, just marveling at the fact, no pun intended, at all these different characters that were on the same page together. It was like Drax was right next to Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. It was awesome. Vision next to Falcon and War Machine and Winter Soldier. It's just so cool to see all that stuff. And so, to see something like that, because I've seen my fair share, I'm sure you guys have as well, of your, of the fake, not fake, but of the just fan-made Avengers Doomsday posters and Avengers, before it was Doomsday, Kang Dynasty posters, and they look really cool. It would be really cool to see Doctor Strange with the new Captain America, with Shang-Chi, with Ms. Marvel, with Spider-Man. I think it'd be awesome, right? I don't think it would have that same emotional weight, just because, frankly, we haven't seen these characters much. Where in the world is Shang-Chi? I've been saying this forever, where in the world is Shang-Chi? But anyways, so yeah, I think it's really exciting. So I hope we'll get some updates there as the film gets closer to filming. But the other piece of news that I think is actually quite interesting, and, there might be a way to read into what I'm about to say, and maybe not, but the other thing that the Russo brothers announced here with the news about the filming, dates, is that these two Avengers films won't be filmed back to back. So with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, they came out basically a year apart, almost exactly, but they were filmed actually back to back. So I think what the Russo brothers said in this interview is that they filmed Avengers Infinity War, and then they took about a 4-week break, and then they filmed Avengers Endgame. And so basically for the actors, it was like, especially for the main 6 actors, right? With Paul Rudd came on later on, but, like the Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, I guess came on for the second film, I'm realistic. But, for those main 5 who were in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, plus all the other side characters, it was basically just a whole, 6 to 8 months of filming, which usually a film takes maybe 3 to 4 months, plus a month of reshoots. So, yeah, that's how Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were filmed. But it looks like here they're going to be taking a little bit more time. It seems like, from what they said, that they're going to be taking about a year between the filming of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. What does this mean? Well, there are a couple ways that you could look at this, and there are a couple ways to actually really read into this. Number one, just being, okay, well, maybe the cast of these two films are very different, so they don't. It's not as easy to just roll into these films back to back. The other, implication is that these two films are just going to be so different from each other that they just need to reset for a while and think about it. Maybe. I think those two things could be true, but honestly, here's my honest opinion. I don't think it means anything. Honestly, because I think all it means is that there are just going to be a lot of actors in these two films and a lot of characters. And I think the real big thing that's holding this up, that's making it so that they want to take a year between these two films with filming, is just that the actors are busy, right? Because it's one thing to say, okay, guys, this is it. This is, the culmination of the MCU, and, hey, Robert Downey Jr., let's just give it 8 months and then you'll be out of here. I think this time it's going to take a little bit more convincing to get someone like a Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Holland, who will talk about his scheduling in just a little bit. But, Benedict Cumberbatch to be like, hey, can you just take an entire year basically just to do these two Avengers films? Because he's probably going to be one of the big leads in it. And then also Doctor Strange 3 eventually. So it's going to be, that's a lot to ask, right? So I think it makes a little bit more sense, in my personal opinion, with my limited knowledge of the Hollywood industry. Very, very limited knowledge, but just to be like, hey, okay, we'll film Avengers Doomsday. It'll still be a longer production, I'm sure, but I'm sure each actor won't have, to film every single scene because they'll be sharing scenes. So Benedict, can you come in for like 2 months here, take the rest of the year, do whatever you want, do an Oscar film, do whatever, and then just come back in a year and we'll do Avengers Secret Wars. That's my guess as to why they're separating these films, because again, I think that just the variety of characters that are going to be in these two films, because it's not like Infinity War where everyone was in it, but then Endgame, almost nobody was in it compared to Infinity War until the very end, right? Which is where they probably got everyone together for like 2 weeks and they filmed everything like that. Maybe they hit that, that side of that production within Infinity War's production, who knows? But maybe with these two films, especially with Battleworld, and especially with, I'm guessing, all the multiversal cameos that are going to happen, I'm sure it's not as easy to do that stuff. So my guess, ultimately, as to why these two films are being filmed a year apart instead of back to back is just simply scheduling. But guys, what do you think about this in the comments down below? Are you excited for Avengers Doomsday? I haven't really asked you guys about Avengers Doomsday since the Robert Downey Jr. announcement, but are you guys still excited for the film? What do you think about the fact that they're filming soon? And it's exciting. So let me know in the comments down below what you're looking forward to most from Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars as they get ready to film very soon.